As House Foreign Affairs Committee member Jared Moskowitz. Congressman, thanks so much for being with me here tonight. I think there is a worthy conversation about playing this out down the road. What is the end game in this war? Is it simply taking away the threat to Israel, the nuclear capabilities of Iran, or is there a bigger goal at this point in mind that we need to acknowledge? Is it about regime change in Iran?
Thanks, Will. Thanks for having me on the show under these unfortunate circumstances. I mean, look, I think the goal is what the goal has been for the last several decades, Democratic presidents and Republican presidents, and the goal of this administration, which is that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I think that has to be the goal. If the Israelis have further goals, I'm not aware of that, and they haven't broadcast that to the public. But I think that is the goal of the Israelis at the moment, and obviously in the interests of America.
Deny Iran a nuclear weapon. How far do you feel like these Israeli attacks went in accomplishing that goal? We know that they hit several nuclear sites, basically housing centrifuges, the ability to enrich uranium in Iran. But there are still huge reactor sites also capable of advancing uranium that the Israelis have chosen not to attack. There's real implications of hitting a reactor and what the nuclear fallout could be for a population locally. So how much was accomplished that you can tell through these initial attacks from Israel in setting Iran back on their quest for a nuclear weapon?
Well, look, the attacks obviously were significant. And as you listen to the Israelis, they're not done. This is going to go on for several days. And if you look at what they did just in the initial strikes, if they have further plans for that on other facilities, then obviously they'll continue to degrade Iran's capability. I mean, listen, for administration after administration, we've been trying to delay this day, delay what now is inevitable, which was that there was intelligence that Iran, excuse me, was near getting a nuclear weapon. And so, you know, this, unfortunately, was Iran's choice. After 5 rounds of negotiations, Will, you know this, after 5 rounds of the negotiation, this administration giving Iran almost every opportunity to prevent this from happening, this was the choice of the Iranian regime, of the supreme leader, who's 86, experiencing mental decline and wants to be martyred. Why would we let someone like that have a nuclear weapon? This is not a civilian nuclear program. They could have had that a long time ago. The IAEA came out and said that they're violating their obligations. And so, listen, you know, if we can get to the table and they can agree to abandon and dismantle the nuclear program, fantastic. But they were offered that and turned that down. If this initial strike convinces them of that, we should take that opportunity. But otherwise, the Israelis should continue to dismantle that. Any country that chants death to America cannot be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. And look, I have vast disagreements, obviously, with President Trump, but obviously we had some knowledge that this was going to happen, probably could have stopped it. U.S. presidents have that ability. President Trump let it go forward, and he got it right.
I was going to ask you your opinion of that. President Trump says he's still willing to negotiate with Iran. Whether or not negotiations are still a possibility after what we're seeing unfold is an open question. But clearly, as you pointed out, the United States knew this was going to take place. The Trump administration, President Trump himself, seemed to play an incredible game of poker in relaxing the Iranians, acting like he wanted restraint from Israel, but clearly knew this was going to happen. So it sounds like you're pretty pleased with President Trump.
Yeah, look, like I said, I think the president got it right. Obviously, if we were given the heads up that this was going to happen, we could have prevented it. We could have delayed it. U.S. presidents have that ability. We have that relationship with the Israelis. This president decided to let it go forward. And so I think the president made the right decision. I also think it was the right decision to try to avoid this. He gave the Iranians 60 days, 5 rounds. Now, I disagreed with some of the information that was coming out about, you know, maybe we would let them have some low-level enrichment. I was vocal about that at the time. But the president's been clear, as have other presidents before him, that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. This president decided to let the Israelis finally start dismantling that program because the Iranians chose not to do that themselves.
Well, Congressman, we appreciate you being with us here tonight. We wish you the best of luck walking the hallways with your colleagues after offering up a rare compliment for President Trump from the Democrats. We do appreciate your time tonight.
Thanks, Will.